Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. I am HollyLynora, and in today's video we are going back to the basics. It is Makeup 101. Grab your notebook and your pencil and let's learn a little bit. In this video I am going to do the base of our faces. We're going to go through primer, foundation, contouring, bronzer, blush. I'm going to show you how to start with a good base as a beginner. And if you would like, in another video, I can do basics for eyeshadow, the blending, lashes, maybe even eyeliner and lips. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, give this video a thumbs up if you are excited to learn the basics of beauty. First off, I want to say that when I was beginning with makeup, I think I made the mistake of going in to Ulta and Sephora and seeing all these products and feeling so overwhelmed and so clueless. You know, I felt silly, I guess is the word, because I had all these questions that I felt like I should know, I guess. You know, things like primer and setting spray. You know, what is primer? You know, these are questions that I was wanting to learn how to apply and how to look flawless like these YouTubers or Instagram baddies or whatever you want to call it. I had no clue. And I think my first mistake was going in and just buying everything that whichever YouTuber I was watching said that they used. Well, they're at another level. They're, you know, pro level. And I was sitting there trying to do my makeup like that as a beginner, and it did not turn out well. So with that being said, I will say, even if you don't have a lot of makeup, if you're sitting here looking at the makeup you got a while back for a work event or prom, that's okay. We're gonna work with what you have. You don't need the fanciest, nicest, the most of anything to look beautiful or to look like you know what you're doing. Also, this video is more about techniques and tips and tricks instead of the look that I'm going to do. So I don't have anything special planned look-wise, so I'm sorry about that, but we're gonna learn a lot, so I hope you're ready. All right, first up is primer. Do you really need primer? I get that question a lot. I'm a firm believer in primer. It has benefits for your skin, vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, etc. I mean, the list goes on. And it helps your makeup stay in place. If you are going to work and you have primer on, you can have a little more confidence that your makeup's going to be put on lockdown throughout your whole day, as opposed to having to go and touch up every 30-45 minutes. There are different kinds of primers out there. There are mattifying primers for people with more oily skin. There are primers that are luminous and dewy and make your skin glow, like that pregnant lady glow. That's my favorite kind of primer. I love a glow from within look. I don't care, for me, on my skin, I don't care for the mattifying look, and I don't have oily skin. There are primers that blur, fill in pores, minimize pores. I mean, the list goes on, and that all depends on what your personal skin type is. A lot of people go off of whatever magazine they're reading or what their favorite YouTuber always wears. Well, their skin's gonna be quite different than yours. So go by what your skin is telling you to go by. Also, of course, I did start this video using Lumify. Makes my eyes whiter and brighter. Use this every single day. Along with a moisturizer, this is the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. I love and firmly believe in moisturizing your skin every single day. It doesn't have to be an expensive Tatcha moisturizer. You can go to Walmart or Target and find just as good. I just really love this one. Speaking of moisturizer, if you don't have a primer, throw on some moisturizer. Let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes and then apply your makeup. Now pick one that's not too thick or not too liquidy. They have a tackiness to them, and they can also work as a primer if you want to test it out and not go spend the money on a primer. If you do want to go out and buy a primer, the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer is $6. I got this at Target, and it is a dupe for the Tatcha Primer, which does the same thing. $6, $52. But they both do really, really well in blurring imperfections, filling in your pores, and they also hold your makeup wonderfully. Think of primer if you're still not convinced that you really need a primer, because I have heard that people think that it's just a makeup brand's way to make more money, that it sounds gimmicky. Well, your skin was not designed to hold makeup. Does that make sense? Our skin isn't here to just hold our makeup in place, so it does need a little bit of help. This is another good primer that I enjoy. This is the Stila Primer. It smooths your skin like a baby's bottom. This stuff, I love it. It is soft and silky. It has a luminous glow to it. And it has a light florally scent, which I don't mind. Some people do mind. If you don't like smells with your primer, stay away from this one. Today, I am going to go in with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I really, really like this primer. If you have a little wiggle room in your budget, I would totally recommend this. It has a tackiness to it, which ensures me, anytime I'm putting on primer, that tackiness is going to hold my makeup. When applying primer, please don't use too much. You literally need 1 or 2 pumps. Can you see how little that is? And you just rub it into your skin. Be sure to pull it down your neck, because when you put on your foundation, you pull that down your neck as well. And so you want that foundation to hold. Try to remember to kind of give your face a mini massage. It gets the blood flowing, gets that color back into your skin. As you can see, it has made my cheeks flush a little bit. If you do apply too much primer, it can cause your foundation to look gunky, cakey, and it can even cause your foundation to separate. Ask me how I know. Even if it's the same brand of primer as you're using foundation, it can still separate. Don't do that. This is probably going to be a little bit lengthy of a video. This is probably going to be a lengthy video with a lot of information. So sit tight. When you do your makeup the next time, you'll thank me. Okay, next up is foundation. This is a big one. With foundation, you can get full coverage. That tends to be for more of the people who love the full glam, people with lots of blemishes, to get that full coverage on your skin. My personal favorite, at the most, I like to do medium coverage, but if it's just a regular day, I like to do a no makeup or a skin tint. They're my absolute favorites. The price range of foundation can range from $4 to $6 to $120. I have that foundation. It's beautiful, but would I repurchase it? I don't know. You don't need to go and buy the most expensive foundation. I promise you, you can look just as glamorous with the $6 foundation. Wet n Wild Photo Focus. I did a video on this one. It looked really flawless. $6. Please, this video is not saying you need to go buy every single item. Don't do that. Glossier and NARS, these two are skin tints. You can apply these with your fingers. You just pat, make sure it's blended in, and you're good. They are lighter. They have SPF in them, which most foundations do now, but that's a plus. And skin tints do tend to just give your skin that natural glow. They tend to be more liquidy. And of course, they have less coverage than you would get in a medium coverage or full coverage foundation. This is another skin tint that I have. It is from Chanel. Of course, it is on the pricier side, but it's another one that I absolutely love. Lightweight, skin looks beautiful. It seems as though you can apply those quicker than you would your full coverage foundations. Now onto full coverage. This is Tarte's Double Duty Full Coverage Matte Foundation. I like this one, and I wanted to show you this one because of the applicator that it has. Anytime there's a foundation with an applicator that is a doe foot applicator, I like to lean towards those because it is easier to apply. Of course, a lot of foundations have the pumps, but if you don't have, I mean, you could pump it onto an old plate if you wanted to, but I tend to just pump it on my hand, but that seems to be a little bit extra work, a little more concentration of not having it run off my hand, and then I gotta go wash my hand. It's just a couple extra steps that I don't want to add on to my routine if I don't have to. This I have hardly used because it is matte. I prefer not to wear matte, but it is a good foundation. I will say that. It is Tarte's Shape Tape Double Duty Beauty Foundation. Application of your foundation. These are foundation brushes. This is not a foundation brush. Your foundation brush, they need to have flat tops and they need to be dense. In other words, thick brushes that don't seem to have a lot of wiggle room in them, as opposed to, say, this blush brush. It's fluffier, has more room, and clearly it does not have a flat top. The beauty blender, or it doesn't have to be a beauty blender. They have makeup wedges at the dollar store, Walmart, and you can get a big pack of them for just a few bucks, and they do work just as well. If you're one that doesn't wear makeup every single day and you just do it every once in a while when you are feeling the urge, go ahead and just try out the makeup sponges. You don't need to buy every expensive item that is out there just because a YouTuber has it. I promise you, you can look just as beautiful. So with the beauty blenders, this is a wet beauty blender. This is a dry beauty blender. Always go in with a damp beauty blender. The application process will be much smoother and your beauty blender will perform much better. I promise you. When I started, I didn't know that you needed to have a damp beauty blender, so trust me on that one. This is the Blendiful. I did clean her. I have noticed with this Blendiful that some of the foundations I use aren't coming off as clean as the others, but I did just clean her. This runs for $18, and I'm gonna say this is a luxury to have. You of course don't need this. It does make applying makeup much smoother and quicker. As you can see, there's a whole lot of surface area here to cover your face. So I am going to go in with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, and half my face I'm going to use the Beauty Blender, and then on the other half of my face I'm going to use my brush. This brush is from It Brushes. It is Airbrush Full Coverage Complexion brush number 77, and it does have the flat top and it is a dense brush. So after primer and before foundation, I throw in another step to color correct some discoloration underneath my eyes and around my nostrils. If this is not in your budget, please don't go out and buy this. You don't have to do this. You can always just pack on a little more foundation in those areas and I'm sure it'll turn out just fine. But I use the Urban Decay Skin Corrector Fluid. This is in the shade Peach. Of course, it goes with your skin tone. Don't just go get the shade Peach because I have it, although I'd be really flattered. I also have the Bobbi Brown Skin Corrector. She works really well too. She's just a little more expensive. Anytime you are applying makeup, start with a little bit and work your way up to a bunch. Do not pile it on the first go and then come to me saying that my advice didn't work. I'm telling you right now, start with a little and work your way up. If you need more, you can always add more. If you put on too much, that is hard to fix. It's like adding too much salt and pepper. You can't really go back. And just like that, my skin is already looking more awake, more vibrant, just with that one step. But like I said, that is a complete luxury. You don't have to go and buy that. Okay, now you are all up close and personal. We are going to dive right into foundation. This Wet n Wild foundation has like a paddle brush applicator, which is the first time I've dealt with a foundation that has an applicator like this, but I don't mind it. Start with a little. You can always add more. Seems like enough just to cover my face, just a thin layer, because we are going to blend it out, and some of it is going to go into the brush or into the beauty blender. It will get soaked up by that, so this seems like a good amount to start with. This side we're going to go in with the beauty blender. We are buffing it into the skin. We're not dragging it. Please don't drag your makeup. You want to press it into your primer. Some people say press it into your skin, but I like to press it into the primer because the primer is what is going to hold it. Bring it down into the hairline. Try to move your face so that you get into your smile lines. That was the most crooked smile. Try to move your face so that you get into your smile lines, in the crevice of your nose, in the creases under your eyes, and even the lines in your forehead. Pull it back to your ears. Do a quick run over those. So this is the Beauty Blender side. It looks smooth. And now we are going to go in with the brush. Okay, this is the brush side. If you'll notice, I did go in with stippling, buffing motions. Don't swirl and drag. That will create streaks, which are very unpleasant. Also, using the wrong brush when applying foundation, like this one, although it has a flat head, it is not a dense brush. It's more on the fluffy side. That will also create streaks. This is totally enough coverage for me. I don't feel like I need to go in with another layer, so I am going to move on to concealer, but if you wanted to, you can totally add on another layer if you want more coverage. Most foundations are buildable. This brush, it is from It Brushes. It is the Airbrush OMG foundation brush. Can also clearly be used as a foundation brush. It is dense and is great for spots around your nose. Maybe if you want to hit your under eyes a little closer, this brush is perfect for that. All right, now it is time to move on to concealer, another tricky one, and also another item that I don't think, if you're beginning, is an absolute must have. You can get inexpensive concealers at the drugstore, of course, but if you're really tight on your budget right now, you do not have to have concealer to look flawless. You can always add a little more foundation to your blemishes or whatever spot you're trying to conceal, and that should work perfectly fine. This is a concealer brush, as well as this concealer brush from Pat McGrath. They look like little painter brushes. You can use these to get more precise placements at your inner eyes. You can pull up tighter to your lower lash line with these, once again around the nose. You of course can also blend out your concealer with a beauty blender. That's another reason why I do like these. I prefer blenders over the brushes because you can use one, and for the most part, your foundation and your concealer, you can just use the one as opposed to going back and forth for different brushes. You can get concealer in little pots. This is the NARS concealer. This is Glossier's concealer. They seem to come out more like balms, like a creamy balm, as opposed to being more liquidy. You can go in here and just use your finger, but that makes it a little harder if you have longer nails like I do and you want to get in the inner corner, but it can still be done. With these, when you're using the brushes that I just showed you, I would be careful with the streaking. I have seen it and done it, so just watch out for that. Of course, it can be done without streaking, with just a little extra blending with your brushes. I prefer concealer when it looks like this in the tube. It's got the doe foot applicator in there. Easy application process. These are Pat McGrath's concealers. I love these. If you're beginning, there is no need for you to go out and buy $32 concealers. This is NARS. She's pretty pricey as well. I think she's in the 30s. I also have CoverGirl. I've got Maybelline. I've got Milani. Those are drugstores. $6, $7, $8 a pop, as opposed to 30. This NARS concealer is a very trusted concealer. It is #1. I love it. It stays put. It makes my skin look luminous and dewy and glowy. Pat McGrath, she's really good with blurring your skin and making your skin look very, very airbrushed. People, of course, mainly use concealer to conceal blemishes, discoloration, but a lot of people nowadays use concealer to brighten the inner part of their face, what I like to call the lowercase t. You've got your T-zone here, and then you've got your lowercase t here, which is what most people like to brighten, and it does add shape and dimension to your face instead of just one flat color, which is what I look like right now. So let's fix that. If you're trying to brighten your face, you do want to go in with a concealer that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than the foundation that you got. Start with a little. You can already see right there it's starting to fade out because there's not much left on the applicator. But when we blend this, we're going to pat things around and move things around until we get it looking how we like it. So don't go and pack on a whole bunch of concealer. It's going to be so hard for you to blend that all in and look airbrushed and flawless if you just pack on a bunch of concealer. This is how I normally apply it. Of course, if I have an unwelcome zit pop up, then I would go ahead and dot concealer on those as well. I don't have acne prone skin, but every now and then I do end up having to conceal a couple of spots. And I am going to go in with this Milani concealer. As you can see, it is very light. And what I like to do is take just a little bit and put it on the innermost corner of my eyes. Just a touch. Everywhere else that I put the first concealer. And we are going to blend all that together. This side I'm going to go in with the Beauty Blender. Be sure to push into your nose crevice. This is what it looks like blended with the Beauty Blender. I look really crazy right now. So let me grab my concealer brush and fix that. You always want to start with the center of your face and pull outwards. And once again, we are buffing. We are not dragging, swirling, stippling motions. This is the side with the brush. I can see, I don't know if y'all can, I can see the marks that the brush left, so I am going to blend that in a little bit more. And that's my personal opinion. I think that brushes, it takes a little more concentration and a little more effort to make sure that it's blended all the way through. But of course, it can be done. Okay, and that is concealer. We have added a touch of brightening to the center of our faces. And now we're going to go on to contour. This is so intimidating to some people, and it was intimidating to me too. I am not gonna lie to you. There's cream contours, there's powder contours, there's stick contours, there's stick contours. I mean, there's just so much. It's like I said, walking into Sephora or Ulta and I just wanted one product. I don't know which one to pick. It is so overwhelming. Personal opinion, I like both. I like powder and I like cream. Powder contour seems to be a little easier to work with. You don't have to buff it out as much. Cream contour, it does have a more natural looking finish. A look that's more meshed in with your skin as opposed to looking powdery. But I will show you both so you can kind of gather your own opinion on that. This is the NARS Laguna contouring or bronzing powder. As you can see, she is very well loved. I have hit pan on this, but don't you worry, I've got a backup. This is Huda Beauty's Tantour. I have used this in my full face of Huda Beauty. You should go check out that video after this one, of course. This is what she looks like. She is cream. I have used her quite a bit. You can see the little dip in there. I really like this. She's got a few different shades for you to work with, but this is her lightest one, which can also be very intimidating if you have really fair skin and you see something this dark. My lips are really bothering me. We gotta get this show on the road. I look... Sorry, you guys had to look at that. This is ABH, Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a cream stick foundation, but it can be used as a contour. Please, as a beginner, do not think that just because it says foundation on the bottom of the tube means it has to be used for foundation. Just because it says bronzer doesn't mean you have to just stick with bronzer. I use bronzer as eyeshadow on days when I'm just trying to be quick and throw on some makeup. So with the cream contour, You can use a brush. I would stick with another dense brush like the foundation brushes I was showing you, because you're going to need to buff so that those bristles, those hairs need to be able to stick kind of together, as opposed to a fluffy one where the bristles slash hair, they're going to spread out. I prefer to use my Blendiful with this cream contour, and with the powder contour, of course you're going to use a brush. I love this brush. It is the Pro Demi Fan from the Sephora collection. I love the shape of it, and it fits right into the hollows of your cheeks. It fits in perfectly, and it's a smooth application. It is a fan brush, or type of fan brush. When you contour, you are creating shadows. Shadows on your face. You are creating dimension, warmth, shadows. You're putting a structure on your face. So with that being said, contouring can really ruin somebody's makeup look. If you've put on too much, if you've placed it in the wrong places, you're gonna look a little funny. I'm just being honest. So with my face shape, I try to place my contour to where it goes down a little bit to elongate my face. If you have a longer face, then you're going to want to not make it so diagonal and kind of pull it up, but don't do a straight line. Please don't do a straight line. If you do, you didn't get it from me. You can create shadows on your forehead to shorten your forehead. You can chisel out your jawline to make that look sharper. And you can also contour your nose. And it's really not as hard as it seems, I promise you. Know your face shape. That will really help you when you are learning how to contour and how to contour for you. So I am going to go in with this brush and into my NARS Laguna. I'm going to start right here at the top of my ear, and I'm going to go into the hollows of my face and stop 2 to 3 fingers away from the corner of my mouth. And I do like to brush it onto my ear just to blend that in a little bit. And that was just with a couple swipes in the pan, and you saw how I brushed it on very lightly. And there's already a shadow on my face. You can see when I turn here, this side looks a little more chiseled than this side. I am gonna add a little more on just for the sake of the video so you can really see how it does add dimension, depth, shadows to your face. And I've went right under my cheekbone. There we have it. We have a full shadow. I'm not gonna leave it like this. I'm just showing you guys. We will clean it up. We will blend it in more and make it mesh with our skin. That is what powder looks like. We will go ahead and chisel out that jawline and start right behind your jawline. You can see that it already looks way better. And I do like to blend that down into my neck as well. You don't want harsh lines. When I contour my forehead, I contour this side and this side. I do not contour all the way through. If you do, you're really gonna shorten your forehead. Some people do that. Some people feel like they need to shorten their forehead that much. I don't think I need to. I hope you don't tell me that I do need to, but I'll take it either way. And back into your hairline. This side of my face has some shape. It is sculpted. We're gonna fix this, don't worry. I am going to go in with a smaller brush. When using powder, this is how I would sharpen up my nose a little bit. Okay, and just like that, we have one side that is contoured. And this is just a basic contour. We're not doing anything special. I just want you guys to learn the basics. This is one half of my face. And not so much of a contour there, huh? So now for this side, I am going to go in with the Cream Contour by Huda Beauty. I'm going to use my Blendiful. You can use a beauty blender. You can use a makeup wedge. You don't have to have this. And you don't have to have this. The drugstore comes out with some really good cream contour stuff too. I am going to fold this in half, get some product. Once again, we are starting at the top of the ear, and we're going to pull it down. Create a line. Same thing with the jaw and the forehead. And for the nose, I am going to go in with this little brush from It Brushes. I'm going to get a little bit of product on there and go in on my nose. If you wanted to make your nose much shorter, you would connect the top of your eyebrow, the innermost part of your eyebrow, to that contour. Just like that. And if you want to be a little extra, you can always go on the bottom lip and add some bronzer there. As you can see, with the cream, it does take a little longer to blend, but the outcome is really pretty. Buffing up and back onto the ear. Okay, so now you have powdered contour on this side, and then we have a cream contour on this side, as well as me connecting my contour to the innermost part of my eyebrow to shorten my nose. And you can see this is the cream side and this is the powder side. If you have a little bit of wiggle room in your budget, I think these are great starters to contour with. This is the Hoola bronzers from Benefit Cosmetics. They are beautiful colors and I love their shade range. They come with a little brush. This guy also fits really well into the hollows of your cheeks, and it is a gorgeous color. It does have a little bit of an orange undertone in there, so be careful of that for my fair skinned people out there. And this guy is the most loved, and he is a neutral color that I think is the prettiest, most beginner friendly shade. And on an end note with contouring, you do typically want to do wet with wet and dry with dry. So if you use a powder foundation, you would want to go in with a powder contour. And if you use a cream or liquid foundation, you want to go in with a cream contour. For the sake of the video, I did put powder onto liquid, but that's just for the video. Also, your powdered contour is going to look a little more chiseled, a little sharper, and your cream contour is going to look more natural. Of course, it does take more buffing into the skin. With cream contours, if you have oily skin, you are going to need to blot a little more throughout the day than someone who doesn't have oily skin would have to. Are you guys with me? Are we learning here? I hope so, because we are just moving along. Next step, setting powder. This one seems to be a doozy. This is another one where I get a lot of questions on, do I need it? Do I have to have it? What does it do? Baking your face? Why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. I do bake my face. It does create a more flawless, airbrushed look. You don't have to bake your face. There are plenty of females, males out there that take their compact of blurring powder and just pat, pat, pat and go on their way. That's perfectly fine too. These are loose setting powders. Clearly they are loose and all over the place. Don't drop one. That's not fun. You can also take these and do like you would with a compact. Just take a little amount and pat it where you want to set and you're good to go. You don't have to bake just because the jar looks like this. There are translucent setting powders. There are setting powders that have a little bit of a color to them. I tend to go to the ones with color because I've brightened my face in the middle already with the concealer, and then we have used the contour, which adds the shadow and the shape, so I don't feel like on my skin the translucent powder seems to make it white, except for RCMA's translucent setting powder, which is a good one to get. It is very inexpensive. Laura Mercier's translucent setting powder, and this is Kat Von D's. Those are the three brands that I've noticed I can do translucent in and it not completely change the color of my face. So with the powdered contour side, I am going to go in with Kat Von D's or KVD's Beauty translucent setting powder, and then with the cream side, I'm going to go in with Fenty Beauty's. This is in the shade Banana and it does have some color to it. See how light that is? I am going to take one edge of my beauty blender. This stuff is really finely milled. It is a fabulous product. Put that much on the blender. Start at the bottom of your contour, or if you went too low on your contour, you can start in the middle of your contour. This is where you're wanting to clean up your contour. So I'm going to start here and go to the corner of my mouth. And on this side, I am going to take a beauty blender. This is a clean, damp one. And dunk it into Fenty's. You can definitely see the color difference between Fenty Beauties and Kat Von D's. And I'm going to show you that you can use a beauty blender with setting powder as well. That's a beauty blender. And you can also use a brush. It is whatever you prefer. This is a Sephora brush. It has a flat top. It is shaped rectangular, very dense. I'm gonna do the same thing, dunk it right into the powder. Got that much on the brush. You can tap off the excess, of course. Start here and go down. With the brush though, there is a little more fallout of the powder onto your shirt. So don't wear a shirt that you like. Okay, so we have those two different loose translucent setting powders on our skin, and now we are baking our face. And what that means, your skin generates heat. That heat comes off of your body. When you have this amount, which is a lot, of setting powder on your face, that heat from your body can't move, can't escape from that setting powder. So it's trapped in there and it is baking, literally baking your makeup onto your skin. And that's what's going to lock it in place and give you that secure, my makeup's not going anywhere for the whole day look. So that's why people bake, that's why people leave it on, because it does ensure your makeup staying put. And you can use a little brush if you wanted to dip it in a little bit and just pat, pat, pat on your forehead. You could tap it over all those, the lines that you get with the facial expressions you're making through the day. You can put it in the crevice of your nose. Makeup tends to not like that area of people's faces. Any spot that you have noticed throughout the day, you look in the mirror and, oh, my makeup messed up here. Oh, my makeup separated here. Bake those areas. Tell me you don't see a difference. Of course, with the loose setting powder, you can go in under your eyes. Be sure to look up when you do so you can really get in those fine lines. That will very much prevent creasing. Another thing that people do that I do all the time is I will put this same amount under my eyes before I'm applying my eyeshadow. And if you have any fallout, if you're using a black or red or bold colors and it falls out onto your cheeks, you just swipe it right away and the baking powder has caught that fallout and you don't have to worry about your base. Or you can do your eye makeup first. Either way works. This is Pat McGrath's Under Eye Blurring Powder. This stuff is wonderful. It does exactly what it says. It will blur your skin right up. Just because it says under eye does not mean you cannot use it for around your mouth with your smile lines, if you have crow's feet, your forehead. Makeup has no rules. With this under eye powder, I am going to go in with this side of my beauty blender, pick a little bit up. There's a little bit right there. And I'm going to pat it under this eye. This powder on my skin has a brightening effect as well. I love Pat McGrath's powder. And doing that will set your under eye too. It will not be as intense of a bake, of course, but this eye is set and good to go. And also Pat McGrath's under eye powder makes your skin so smooth. The Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. She has a cream version and she has a powder version. This is my second one. I have the powder version. These three colors right here are great for setting your under eye. Let me take this side of the Blendiful and I typically mix this color Kind of has an orange undertone to it with this color. Get just like that. Pack it right underneath. This palette will really help set, and honestly, if you just got this, you could brighten your T-zone, you can do a contour, and that's just with one palette. Typically, I would not pack on setting powder, under setting powder, over setting powder. I would just use one, but for the sake of the video, you would normally want to have your skin bake for about 5 to 10 minutes. If you go longer, it will not hurt you. That's just what is suggested, 5 to 10 minutes. While everything is baking, I typically like to go ahead and go into blush. There are cream blushes. This one's more liquidy than this one is. These are wonderful blushes. They are on the pricier side though. For beginners, I would totally suggest the Morphe blush palettes. If you are a beginner, you probably don't really know what kind of shade range your blush color should be. So the Morphe palettes do come with a collection of colors. This is the Warm Master palette. I haven't even used it yet, but we will today. Morphe is inexpensive, and just to start, you are getting a lot of choices that you can work with and learn what shade you look best in or you feel best in. If you have fair skin, you kind of want to stick towards the lighter colors, of course, the light pinks. You want to stick to these three. This one might even be pushing it. A light dusting of that would look perfectly fine, but clearly these shades, if you have fair skin, you want to stay away from. This is blush as well. They're not as pinky colored. Clearly you have one that is obviously pink. These top three right here have shimmer in them. That's a really pretty look. That's a quick way to add some pizzazz. Did I say pizzazz? I personally am going to mix this top one called Sweet and then this one that is called Goals. I'm gonna mix those together with my blush brush. As you can see, the blush brush does angle upwards. This is from IT Cosmetics, and you will hold it kind of like you're holding a pencil or a pen. And you'll start with the top tip at the corner, pointing, not at, but pointing at the corner of your mouth, and you're going to pull it up, sweep it up. I don't go all the way to my temples. Some people do. This is another thing where you need to know your face shape. I start at my cheekbones right in the center and sweep it up to right below my temple, lightly sweeping it up. So there's just a light amount of color right below my temples. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of both. Tap off the excess. And there we have a touch of blush. For this side, I am going to go in with a liquid blush. This is from NARS. A little bit goes a long way with every single liquid blush I have worked with. I'm just going to stick a little bit on my finger. Just a touch, barely any on there. And we're just going to pat it onto the same area that we did on the other side. This blush has a little bit of a sheen to it, which I really like. And now we have a cream blush over here and a powder blush over here. For good measure, sometimes I do like to add a little bit just to my nose, just to add a little bit of color. Some people add some on their chin, just a hint, just throws in a little more color to the mix. We are trucking along, guys. It is past time for me to take this powder off. So I'm going to take a powder brush. This is by Pat McGrath, of course. You can use any powder brush, any brand. It just needs to be a bigger, fluffier brush. And we are going to sweep off this bakage. This side was the Kat Von D that was a little bit lighter. And while I am sweeping, I do like to go ahead and swirl around and on top of the contour and the blush to kind of blend everything together, have everything settle in really nicely. Get it out from under your nose. We put the Fenty Beauty powder there. Make sure it's good and out of your crevices. I like to squeeze the brush, flatten it out like that, and push in. And this side was the Fenty Beauty that had a little bit of color in it. It was called Banana. And see this side, closer towards my jawline. you can see that the color didn't really change, as opposed to here, it is lighter and you can see where that contour is a little more clearly than you can with this. It looks more blended in, a little more natural. Remember, this side is the powder contour side. So keep that in mind. Look over this video, decide which products you like better. We have one more thing. This is totally just an extra little luxury. I enjoy it. Most people nowadays are wearing it to add a little extra shine, a little extra sparkle to your look. Highlighter. Another product that comes in all shapes and sizes. This is Urban Decay's liquid highlighter. The applicator looks like this. It is something that you just tap onto your skin and buff it out with your fingers, then you're ready to go. We also have Maybelline's Master Chrome. It is broken, so I'm being a little careful. This is a bronzer slash highlighter. It does have shimmer in it, so it will shine, but not as much as, say, this Laura Mercier highlighting palette. I love this palette. Every time I wear this, I get somebody asking me, what highlighter am I wearing? I like this shade and this shade. It also has a couple blushes in there. It is a beautiful palette, a little bit on the pricier side if you're beginning. Morphe also has palettes like the blush palettes that they've come out with, and they are just for highlighters. These are a little more for the fun girl in you. They do have some neutral colors in there, but like the blue and this blue purpley color and the pink, the gold, this would look really pretty on darker skinned girls. That would be gorgeous. Of course, you can wear any shade you want. Makeup has no rules. Don't forget that. I am going to go in first with this Urban Decay liquid highlighter, and I will just go ahead and add that to the cream side that we're working with. A little bit goes a long way with most highlighters depending on the quality, so we will start small. You want to place highlighter on the top of your cheekbones, so when you smile, see how it's sitting on top? You want to place it there and just pat it out. It has that shine to it, and so now when the light hits, I'm going to have a shine on my cheek. You can also place highlighter on your nose, just a little. I like to place highlighter on my Cupid's bow, as well as the bottom of my lip. You can place highlighter at the arch of your brow, and you're just going to buff everything out. So that was the liquid highlighter. And like I said, you totally don't have to go out and get highlighter. You will look just as beautiful without the flashiness that highlighter brings. For a highlighter brush, I like to use a smaller, fluffy brush. It is not dense like a foundation brush. This is the Morphe M501. I am going to go into this top shade right here. Just give it a quick dusting on that shade too. Off with the excess, and top of the cheeks. Throw it on the nose again, the lip. And quick little trick, if you do like the look of highlighter on your lips, go ahead, throw on some chapstick and just tap your highlighter on your lips, and now you've got some blingin' lips. I don't really do that, but it does look cute to some people. I don't think it looks good on me, so like I don't like this right now, but it's okay, I'll leave it. Okay guys, we are finally on the last step to Makeup 101, learning about the base, how to apply, what to apply, why to apply. We have finally made it to that last step. Setting spray. We are going to set our faces again with setting spray. Do I think this is a 100% you have to do this step? No. We have used primer, we have set it with translucent loose powder, we have set it with the blurring powder. This is just an extra reinforcement to make sure your makeup stays. If you're a beginner and you don't have setting spray, that is a-okay. No need to sweat. Don't sweat it. With setting spray though, of course, they come in all shapes and sizes, all different colors and designs. They of course have different ingredients in them. Some are made to make your face look more matte. Some say they have shine control. This one from Too Faced has coconut water in it. This one from Glow Recipe, one of my favorites, has a glow about it. All the misters and spritzers are different. This one from Huda Beauty is waterproof. It smells very strong. This guy is actually in my giveaway. If you have not entered into that, go to my Sephora and Ulta haul. I don't know why I'm pointing that way. Go to my Sephora and Ulta haul. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment, and it will enter you into a $600 plus giveaway with a whole bunch of makeup goodies, and this is one of them. And the price ranges with setting spray. This I think was $4, $4 or $5. This is in the 30s. Do not have to go and buy the most expensive thing. Please keep that in mind. I am going to go in with this Too Faced setting spray, and it also says it is a replenishing primer as well. So you can find some that are 2-in-1. I'm just going to go in with this one because it is just a basic one. This one is silicone.